I never said Parlor doesn't exist. I know Parlor exists. That's why I brought them up.
What Sinthe is saying, yes, there are other services, but of greater, lesser quality than the one that the most popular big platforms use in order to support their websites, their platforms. So he's attacking it. Hey, yes, you can go somewhere else, but the quality, the security will drastically go down to such a level where it does not matter.
Oh, look, I understand the argument.
Dead on.
There's number two to there's a part two to this. He's also stated that it creates an echo chamber where, yes, I have a Parlor account too, but Parlor looks like crap right now. No one wants to go to Parlor. The only people going to Parlor are what? The people on, I'm guessing, the right. Therefore, we have a situation where it's supposed to be both sides talking to each other, and that line of communication is not happening. Do you understand that?
Oh, yeah. Look, I understand that. There are two different arguments, but I'm just trying to point out that the first one, it's empirically a lie. Just look up Parlor. It is there. If it is indeed the case,
I never said Parlor doesn't exist.
If it is indeed the case, I mean, Jesus Christ, I'll just Google. I'll dump it in the chat. Like, it's there.
I never said I never said Parlor doesn't exist. I know Parlor exists. That's why I brought them up as an example. They exist.
Yeah,
they are a real example that does exist.
Right. So
I don't know. I know Parlor exists. Yeah. What's your point?
Yeah. So my point is exactly my point is, as I claimed earlier, if there is a company, right, which has an overly cumbersome speech codes, right, it means that other competitors can come up. If there is a genuine user base interested in looser speech codes, they can flock to that website. The relative non-success of Parlor proves that the current company standards of who they deplatform is working. It is popular for the majority population, and therefore it's as it should be. The second argument, which you're trying to bring up, which is to say that it will create echo chambers, I think pales in comparison to the actual harms of your argument, which is you want to be clear, the government to create these speech codes. You've provided no analysis as to why the government will create the no echo chambers, total free speech codes that you envisage. We can imagine, for example, in Canada right now, do you think Justin Trudeau's government is going to allow a totally freedom of speech social media thing? Do you think the Saudi Arabian companies are going to allow a total freedom of speech version of Facebook and Twitter? Absolutely not. So if you want to be comparative here, under your side, you're looking at governments which are structurally incentivized to create the very echo chambers you're afraid of. Whereas on my side, if there is sufficient interest for other companies to exist with looser freedom of speech codes, they can.
So, Mouse, just really quickly, what do you think my position here is?
Your position is that the government should create a law which bans deplatforming unless there's an extreme justification, which you haven't yet defined or listed criteria for. And that
I gave you examples, but I could give you a strict definition if you want.
I would love a strict definition. In fact, I asked for it in the opening and I'm yet to receive it.
So whatever extreme justification there is, the extreme justification would be so long as the social standard set by having this bar maximizes utility, that would be justified. I could give you more specifics. So in the case of, say, for example, something that impedes the functionality of a website, I think this is something that you could reasonably ban somebody for. I think if it's something that's like for example, if you go onto a recipe website and you start spamming up like the Communist Manifesto, I think it's reasonable to remove somebody for this. This would be, I think I fit within the lines of the extreme justification. But if somebody is going onto your politics and discussion forum and typing in something like the Communist Manifesto, then you wouldn't be able to push them off the platform there because it doesn't impede the reasonable function of the platform.
And what makes you think that every successive government which you've given this power to is going to respect those exact criterion?
The government doesn't have the power to remove people from the platform. They have the power to stop you from removing people from the platform.
No, they have the power to set different criterion by which people can be removed, correct?
So right now the criteria is anybody can be removed. So your argument is like people might be removed unjustly still, and that happens now.
No, that is a fair point. I guess my question then is, who do you think which the companies are deplatforming currently, which you think shouldn't be deplatformed?
People spreading misinformation. Also, people who are denying that I don't want to get into TOS here, but obviously we're kind of talking about it. People who deny certain historical events being deplatformed. I want to be able to debate these people, and I can't because they're removed from the platform. I can't debate them on YouTube. I'd have to go to Parlor, where there's a much smaller audience. I want to be able to debate people in public where other people could see. I can't debate a Holocaust denier, for example, right, on the Crucible. We'd never be able to get away with doing that. We'd have to go to Odyssey or something for that. I want to be able to debate race realists on the Crucible and be able to say race realism, right? I can't call their position that, right? These are all issues, I think, with the things that I want to do politically. I can't do them because the people who I want to have conversations with, the people who I want to argue with, who I want to debate with, can't come to YouTube.
Look, I honestly, look, maybe I've just got a poor memory here, but I do remember some pretty controversial debates happening on the Crucible. Have you guys not had people who are arguing? Doesn't BPF believe in the Great Replacement, right? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of people with some pretty controversial. If you want to like talk about, race essentialists and stuff like that, they're here.
So hang on. So just so that you understand, so that this can be characterized correctly.
Yeah.
It's not that you can't have controversial debates within the confines of TOS, but you're always on the edge, right? Because you don't know that you might say something that isn't even particularly controversial, that might be construed as a TOS violation. You get a channel strike, you get all kinds of problems. So we're very, very careful about how we move about within the confines of what's allowed and what isn't. And even then you can get struck for no particular reason. So I think that's what Sinthe alluding to when he says, like, look, I would like to have these debates with like Wignats and stuff like that, but he has to be very cautious because of the terms of service.
Look, but I understand. Look, I understand he might feel that way. I'm just arguing about the empirical truth of the matter. The
empirical truth of the matter is I could just bring you the TOS up if you'd like. We could read through it.
For example, Politically Provoked, right? They have had debates with people who identify as race realists.
And they don't have
Politically Provoked is not on YouTube anymore.
They got axed, brother. They got axed.
They're gone. They're on Odyssey.
They're on Odyssey. Well, look, the point is,
they
if you want
committed
to
verbal seppuku.
Even here, right, like BPF, for example, right, like has certain beliefs about immigration, right, which are controversial, but he's still here. So, like, I understand that there are some people who you might have to debate on a different platform with a slightly smaller audience.
What do you think?
I'm not really seeing that as being a particularly big deal. These people are around.
I think it's a pretty big deal because these people exist in large numbers, and the only way to get to them is if you're going to like these like extreme echo chambers. I think that's absolutely a bias setting for a debate. I think that you don't want like this insane ultra far right like neo-Nazi echo chamber to be the only place that you're able to debate, because even if you win, what they do is they just give each other copes for why you won, and you get nowhere with that. I want to be able to debate them on YouTube where they have to confront the fact that they lost.
These ideas, what better place than an audience full of people who disagree with you? Like, what do you want to do? Just preach to people who already agree with you?
No, I want there to be a difference of opinion where there. Oh, no. I want there to be a difference of opinion, and there not to be like some elaborate cope underneath every single video of theirs. I want to make sure that there's like enough people. It doesn't have to be the majority. Just enough people disagreeing with them, so it's not a total echo chamber.
So what you're saying is that you just want the chat to have a bit more back and forth in it, and the YouTube comment sections have a bit more back and forth in it?
I think the YouTube comment sections do, as a matter of fact, have a bit of back and forth. I think they're a great place for debates like this to happen with these extreme right-wingers. The issue is I have to go to their...
That there are all these like neo-Nazis out there who, if they were in their own echo chamber, wouldn't be convinced by your arguments. But if they see a few YouTube comments which disagree with them, would be like, oh no, I'll give the guy a fair shot.
As a matter of fact, I think that the social influence, you're kind of like changing the way that I've said this. I think the social influence of the people around you, being willing to disagree with you, can be massive there. I think if the only place that you're able to debate these right-wingers is like on these like extreme echo chambers, then anytime you challenge them to a debate on YouTube, they'll just like hide behind the TOS. It's like a shield. It doesn't defend us, it defends them. Their weakest positions of the worst people are the ones that are hidden by TOS.
No, but like the point of the fact of the matter is that you're trying to make an argument that you would be unable to convince these people if they were in an echo chamber, but able to convince these people if there are a few more chatters arguing against them.
Absolutely, that's influential.
No, that's delusional. Like YouTube chat,
this is dead wrong.
Chat. Have you looked at any YouTube comment sections? It's not full of people going, "Oh, good, interesting point. I'm convinced now." It's people.
No, I don't think people in YouTube chat are going to be operating in good faith. But I think the social pressure of not having a massive echo chamber constantly telling you that the other person was like using tricky debate tactics can be really helpful at pulling people out of bad ideas.
Okay, look, we agree to disagree here. You can call it social pressure you want, but fundamentally what you're really talking about is that you believe that just having a few chatters and YouTube comments disagreeing with you makes a neo-Nazi more likely to give up their ideology. I think that's delusional personally.
Wait, you don't think it makes them? You don't think it makes them any difference in likelihood whatsoever? You think there's no
Honestly,
difference
I
in
actually
likelihood?
think it probably makes them more likely to galvanize down and double down on their own opinion, because nothing makes you more likely to like agree with yourself more than seeing the other side with all of the shit talking points and things which you've been primed to disbelieve, and then
Mm-hmm.
giving you the opportunity to express your opinion passionately and call people names and stuff. I think it makes you more likely to double down.
So you think the best place for the Nazis to be, if we want to change their minds, are going to be in Nazi echo chambers?
I'm not 100% sure about what the quote unquote best place is. However, I'm saying is that,
Well, you were really sure I was
think-
wrong about it, right? So that would be the only other option. If my example's wrong, then that's the only other option. The best place would have to be the Nazi echo chambers, not the ones that aren't Nazi echo chambers.
Let me